Hello and welcome to the Brown Fox podcast. We're very excited here starting off this podcast and sitting down and having a conversation. It's going to be really good and really just riveting to be able to sit and spend the time to just talk through a bunch of stuff and get something out. Be really, really cool.
I'm so excited, man. I'm so excited, Nathan.
Yeah,
which is your name.
Yeah, which is Hello, I'm Nathan. I should have very much introduced myself. I'm Nathan, by the way, and we're sitting here, obviously with Joseph Bobadilla.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be on our own podcast for the first time. So excited to actually get this thing started.
Absolutely. So today we're kind of just going to be just discussing, I guess, what is Brown Fox Media, and how it actually came about. I guess the story with how yourself, went through where you were, the position you were in before coming in and starting the business, as well as what our I guess goals are and what is this podcast and what we're hoping the future to look like for that.
Awesome, man.
All right. Well, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's like we're saying, this is the first time we're doing a podcast. For ourselves. I've done some podcasts for others, but this is the first time we're going to be in front of the camera as well as, I guess, technically behind it.
I have done a couple
at the same time.
They're far and few between the ones that I have done, and I think it's really cool to being able to do everything like a legitness.
Yeah, exactly. So. This has been a bit of a dream, honestly, for me over the last year. I don't want it to become. How do I say this? I don't want it to be as if like we're just jumping on a podcast train, which I guess in a way kind of are, but to be able to actually provide valuable information from our own story, our own experience, and to just help people.
Absolutely.
So why not? We do video production. Absolutely. Why not do it?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like whenever I come in as well, we always kind of have like an hour-long conversation anyway, so
why not record it? Let's get into it, man. I'm so keen.
Absolutely. So I guess the first question or the first point of conversation would be, what is Brown Fox Media? I think I've kind of jumped on, and I've heard I guess a bit of the vision of the business and what the values of it, as far as what we want to do with helping people and providing something for a business to be able to grow. But what have you found? Like, what have you found it to be? Like, what has it emerged to be? Like, I guess as you've started it. Yeah. And do you think that's something that will shift? Do you already know maybe what that might shift into, or is it kind of already at this level that we're going to work through and work towards for a long time? Yep,
100%. Okay, I mean, if I was to try and summarize it so I don't say my entire life story, I've always been a creative person. Like yourself, I've always been in some fashion or whether it's in church, whether it's in my own life, I've just always loved creativity, and specifically digital creativity. Yeah. So I mean, starting off as a kid, I was really into Photoshop. When I was in primary school, I discovered Photoshop. I found myself loving making videos to a degree in PowerPoint, like with all the animations and the custom animations and
or
sound
like the
effects.
Pivot stick man.
Oh man, like there was so many things I got involved with. And going through high school, I really thought that there was no future in it. That was, I mean, I'm 27 now, so backtrack 10 years, the internet was, I guess still in a bit of infancy. Media as it's known today was not the same 10 years ago.
Technology in general.
Exactly. I mean, 10 years ago, we just had the first couple iPhones, that kind of thing coming out. Crazy. So couldn't have envisioned. Obviously, the people who were ahead of the curve or really thought a lot, had a better vision of what the future could be, probably did their best and got into it then, and you've seen the results of when people get in early. Having said that, I think something to be said for having life experience as well, and not just jumping into something because you think it's a good idea, but actually having tried a couple things in life. So I mean, I did my engineering degree, I finished that, and I went into the industry. I thought it would be a great way to make money, and that was literally all I thought about it. Yeah, I had no real desire to do it. Right. And when you get into something and you have no desire to actually do the thing, and if your reason for doing it is just money or a lifestyle, finding a lifestyle or just status or whatever, it just doesn't last.
Because the desire comes first. That's what has to come first.
The why always
comes
and
obviously something has to be viable. You can't, just go get on a limb. Oh, I want to paint streets.
I mean, I wish I could be a video game player, but hey.
I mean, there's some people that's for real reality.
I wish I could be a basketball player and, at 5'7", not even that, it's probably not a great future for me at this stage.
Yeah, but the desire comes first, the passion comes 100%. First, because out of that comes excellence, comes a drive, comes motivation, all that sort of stuff. So 100%, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, dude. So I mean, coming out of that engineering degree and coming out of the field, like having complete uncertainty as to what I was doing, I kind of floated around for a little bit. I volunteered at a church and in Lighthouse Baptist Church in Rockhampton, which they took me on as staff, and I volunteered in a capacity where I was running a lot of the media. So it ended up becoming a job within the school. So I was handling all their media, all the photography, graphic design, promotional material, social media, the website. I have no web design experience.
Just getting amongst it, eh?
But then, one thing led to another, and I started to explore the different facets of media again, like I used to, like I enjoyed doing when I was younger.
Yeah.
And it really revitalized something within me to go, okay, cool. Like this isn't where I want to be forever, but right now this is where I should be, and I'm enjoying the exploration process again. And I guess to summarize a lot of it without getting into too much detail, because that's a whole nother story in and of itself.
Yeah, he gets so deep.
I could tell this story for like an hour, but we don't have that.
Or do we?
Or do we? Exactly. Oh, well, I mean, we'll try to keep it concise today on the first podcast, not get too carried away.
Yeah, for sure.
But where was I? So I was talking about how I got into exploring video production and photography. And I picked up a camera again about 4 years ago and just started to shoot again just for fun.
Yeah.
And I started to do it in the school context. So they had no photographers, and I just kind of hopped in and just started making it happen. Like I started to just take photos of everything. And eventually it became part of what I did. Every day I'd have a camera glued to my hand. One thing led to another, and I guess from there I discovered video. And in that same process, I was always thinking about how to make it something I could do forever. You know what I mean? Like obviously being employed in a capacity to do it is great, but if you understand you have a vision that's greater than where you are at the moment, there's always something in you that wants to try and push the boundary.
Yeah, for sure.
So for me, it was like trying to figure out how to make it bigger than where I was at, even though I loved doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
Like thinking about how I could even potentially make it a business. So I explored a couple things. I spent a year, about 2017, making YouTube videos, documenting a bit of a journey of trying like e-commerce and trying Amazon, FBA, Shopify, all this stuff that like my motive for it wasn't the best. It was to like get passive income, and sit at home,
sit on the beach
and do absolutely nothing and get paid.
Yeah.
But in the process of doing that and learning, what I did learn was firstly, how to create videos, because I had done 70 YouTube videos, just talking head stuff, but like the repetition of using Premiere and getting faster, getting better, actually getting to know the craft. I did experiment with lighting, with audio, learning that. Things that I wouldn't have had experience anywhere else. And then the other thing was understanding how hard it is to start something, even if it was a failure, which they were. Everything I tried failed.
Oh no.
And I lost so much money, but that's another story again. But that whole thing we hear people like, get back up, get back up, get back up. I was like, do I want to get back up into this? And I was like, probably not. But I understood what it takes and how hard you have to work to start something. Because it was after nights. It was, late at night after a full-time job. It was on the weekends, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I'm getting to a point here. I thought to myself, I'm like, I'm doing all this to get a passive income so that what? Like, what is it freeing me up to do?
Yeah, like, what is the direction of
is it to sit at home, do nothing? And I was like, no, it's not.
Will I be happy with that?
No. And I thought to myself, it's freeing me up so I can do the things I love to do, which is to be creative. And then it just went like, ding. Why not just try and do it? Like, make a business being creative. And it's not as simple as that, but that was like the thought that came in my head. I was like, well, obviously, 2 and 2 together. but there was a lot of fear involved in that, and I think maybe we'll unpack that later. And it took me a while. I tried to get into business with my brother, who was doing video before I did, and it turned out he didn't want to do it. So I thought that dream fell flat for a whole year.
Yeah.
While I danced around the e-commerce stuff, and eventually I went, you know what? I have to do something, or nothing is going to happen. Like no one is going to start this for me.
No, not at all. Not at all.
A little bit of desperation, not in a bad way, but because I knew I had to move cities.
Yeah.
At the end of last year, I knew I was moving. So July last year, I just made the decision. So July 2018, I said, you know what? I'm just going to do something, just something. Made a Facebook page with my name on it, Joseph Bobadilla Creative. Had no idea what I was going to do, but I started advertising and doing free photography shoots, you know. I did photo and my phone is buzzing. Loved it, absolutely loved it. And then one thing leads to another and you start advertising video. And then I thought to myself, okay, cool. There's a market here for photography, but then there's 100 million photographers or people who want to be photographers.
Yeah. So when did it,
pardon me. Yeah, it's all right.
When did it kind of shift from like you were realizing that, you know, hey, this, because when you were freelancing and everything like that, it's like you didn't have an ABN or any of that sort of stuff. Yeah. So when did it kind of shift and you were like, oh, I have to, like, I'm gonna position myself in this way to, I guess do more corporate work and things like that. When did you kind of shift into that mindset of was like, oh, this could be bigger than me?
Yep, that's a great question, and I think which is perfectly segues to what I was saying, because I started off in photography and I started off wanting to shoot weddings because that's all I knew of. Right. Not I knew, but I knew that people were doing. I had friends in the wedding industry and I still do. And they were doing really well in terms of their own personal businesses or if they were working for someone else. And I didn't know anything about commercial anything like corporate. I thought it was like a up high in the sky thing. Like I knew nothing. I thought you have to go through agencies, you have to do this and that. I thought there was a lot of like red tape or you have to be a huge company to do it. And obviously all of that's wrong, but my assumptions were wrong, but it only took doing it to find out. So I did weddings. I second shot for a couple people and then eventually landed my own weddings as well. And I didn't mind it. I don't mind it. I still enjoy shooting weddings.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I knew instantly, like not instantly, but like within one or two shoots, I was like, I don't want to do just weddings.
Yeah.
And so if you're not doing weddings and you're creative, like what else are you going to do? Well, not much else other than do work for businesses. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then as I explored that, I did a couple, like I said, free shoots for businesses. I realized very quickly, I really enjoyed meeting new people in different fields because there's something about getting into someone else's world and like learning what they do, why they're doing it. Yeah. And then being able to bring that essence out and capturing that in something like a video or a photography session, whatever it is, something creative. And then that led me to really exploring the path and going, you know what, there is a huge future in this. This is the thing that I want to be focusing on. Like I still do weddings and I still love them, but to be able to help and service businesses is like, that's where the exploration process started.
Right.
And then it was a matter of really like learning, like just a lot of hours of learning about it, learning from other people who had already gone before, finding as much content on the internet as I could.
For sure, because there's so much out there.
It's all out there. If anyone wants to do anything, it's all on YouTube. Like, I don't even need to say Google anymore. It's like on YouTube.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I've heard it said,
Google,
you know,
also.
if you look up something on Google and there's a written word blog or like a video, people are gonna choose video.
I don't remember the last time I went to a blog to actually look at something of a how to do.
Yeah.
Or a website. Like there's a place for them, but it's just, anyway.
Yeah, no, that's
just the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I think, well, like with that, with starting it up, you mentioned like you had like a few fears, like obviously, like consciously, like I think in our conversations, like when we went and had coffee and things like that, you express it, I guess, just as on a personal level, you work as like, is this viable, or is this, gonna set me up for life? Like, is this, a viable thing? And obviously, jumping and be like, oh, I'm gonna go into business, like that's like that's a pretty huge thing to kind of like
huge.
to realize or to want to jump into.
Yep.
So I guess like what other fears, I guess, in relation to that, I guess like inward desire, I guess as a person, as a husband, or whatever. It's like what fears were in, like, what were you specifically afraid of, or how did you overcome that or work through it?
Awesome. So the first time I tried to start a creative business with my brother, and then he bailed on me. He bailed on me, Josh. No, it wasn't something he did. Yeah. He wanted to do. He wanted to focus on doing it in his church ministry context, which is awesome, and I completely back him 100%. But I thought to myself, I was trying to rely on someone else because I was afraid of what people thought of me.
Okay.
I was afraid of what people, like, it's a common fear. But I was afraid of putting myself out there.
Yeah.
Many reasons. Honestly, a lot of it had to do with the fact that I had just come out of a, employment in an industry that I suppose people would see as professional. Like,
I see.
To go from, for a start, to go from, not there, but, to go from an educated professional career to nothing.
Yeah.
It's actually like a really challenging thing if all you've known is, like, all I knew was you get a job, you get a pay raise. You get a job, you get a pay raise. You get a job, you get a pay raise. And I was on that path. I had not known failure before then. Everything was not handed to me, but everything was there.
It was like the next step is obviously this.
And so to go from there to nothing, and then realizing that no one cared, but no one was going to help me get back up. Not about status, but just literally to get on my feet.
Yeah, for sure.
It was like,
or I guess have a direction, or have something that is, you're working for. Like, obviously you're in uni. Yeah. They're like, okay, well, you're going to get a job in the industry.
100%.
And it's like, it leads to the next thing. Oh, you get a job here. Well, you're going to, rise the ranks. Yep. But when you're not in that, when you're not in a structure,
when you're not in this defined path. So I knew what that path looked like for me in the construction industry. I was going to head towards becoming a senior project engineer, and then potentially a project manager. And then all I did was look at what the lives were of the people who were in that path, and I was like, nah, don't want to. But then I was like, now what? Because it's like wide open.
Yeah.
So the fear of what people thought of that, and that was the fear that I just had to stop thinking about. Like, honestly, there's just no point in thinking about what others will think of you. Like, you can hear everyone says it now, but it's just because it's true. It stops too many people, and it held me back for years. And I'm still overcoming a lot of that stuff, but it's just daily doing it.
Yeah.
And then there's the fear of the unknown, obviously, because when you're not on a defined path, there's no definition.
Yeah, it's uncertainty. Like,
well, what's the next step? Yeah. It's up to you in a way.
Like, well, what do you think? It's like,
I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely.
And so those are the fears of starting it. I think if you're talking about like pushing through, like there's a really great book by Seth Godin called The Dip, and that's one of the things that I'm still holding to now, where it's like understanding when you reach points in your journey, because it's not a smooth journey. When you reach points where it's just not working out, it's like up to you at that point. Do you keep and push through that dip, or do you pivot? Do you turn around? It's really what happens at those decision points that defines what's going to happen next. So at the points that I've experienced already, those points are like, is this viable? Like the truth. It's like when people aren't knocking on your door, when you're not getting work consistently, and you're like used to getting a regular paycheck, and it's like, okay, is this worth pursuing? Because if nothing comes in, can I still do it? And there's a fear of like, but that's a fear of having a scarcity kind of mindset of like, there's too much competition, or people will steal my work, or no one will find me because there's not enough work. It's like actually the wrong mindset to have. Right. But that's another fear of, it comes up, but you have to battle through it and understand that there's like plenty of work, and it's just a matter of putting yourself out there. I think those are like some of the main fears, and tied to that is because, like you said, I'm a husband, so I'm married, and I want to make sure that I'm providing.
Absolutely. And
to have that idea that you're not able to, that's rough.
Yeah, so rough.
That's rough. And that's, that's another thing is, on a side note, making sure that the people you care about and the people who are, I guess, in a way dependent on you for support, financially, emotionally, whatever, that they're behind you as well. Because if you do it solo,
because that's just like a fundamental human desire to be able to take care of yourself and then take care of the people around you.
Yep.
It's like, if you can't do that, then you're like, where's my purpose in life?
Exactly.
But it's like, absolutely, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like, it's like, how do you feel like when, I guess, shifting from that, you were in that sort of corporate environment, and then you were kind of in that, I guess, downtime of like, I'm not in a structure. I could literally go anywhere you wanted. Moving from that time, I guess, into this spot where you're like, this is what I'm pursuing, like 100%. Like this is what I'm putting energy to. How do you think your personal life has fitted into that, or do you think that maybe the business has fit around your personal life? No, for sure. Let's talk about how it's impacted your personal life in the way of how those two ideas kind of mesh together.
Yep.
And what has had to change? What compromises have you had to make without, I guess, getting to?
No. I'm happy to share because, like I said, I feel like I'm still at the beginning, and you know, and I'm glad that you're happy to hop on board regardless.
Same, bro.
I've only started doing this, like I said, from July 2018. So in this little space of just over a year of doing it as a ABN business, like a business that's an actual business, like working towards, all that fun stuff that comes with becoming a business. Personal life. So like I said, the sacrifices that had to be made at the start and even now is just knowing that you don't have, it's up to you how you spend your time when you're starting a business, especially one that you want to become full-time. Because if you think, there's a trap that people think, especially with all like how an entrepreneurship and business is now like glorified.
Romanticized.
It's romanticized.
Like, it's like, I'm going to do whatever I want.
That's how I started getting intrigued into it more. Like there's a backstory to how I actually believe from when I was younger, I wanted to be a business owner, but I still I didn't have anything in place for that. But it's been romanticized now to the fact that everyone feels like they can start one. And that's fine. Give it a shot. Everyone should give it a shot, at least to at least know self-awareness that whether they can or can't.
If it's responsible, and you're not gonna you're not gonna crash and burn and
exactly.
Bring other people down as well.
Not recommending quitting your job and then just going all in on something with no proof of concept. Like if you're gonna start another donut shop, like there's a dime a dozen donut shops. Like
it's like what sets you apart? Yeah.
So coming back to personal life and compromises, I had to compromise on my spare time for a lot of this first year, and even right now, I do a lot of church ministry. So even if we're fast forwarding to now, like we come home at 10 o'clock or whatever at night. There's some days, and even this week and whatnot, I just have to get back on the computer and just keep working. Just for necessity, because if no one does it, if I don't do it, no one's doing it.
For sure.
Whatever that means, especially at the very start. Like I think you have to be ready to compromise time, not compromise, but like prioritize it.
Sacrifice.
If it's going to become a full-time thing. If it's just a side hustle, like forever, then, you can proportionally keep your time that way. But I had to make that sacrifice. And that for me meant like less video games or less, I didn't play very many video games or watch any movies out in the cinema or whatever.
I have I haven't watched a movie in so long. I like YouTube. Well, YouTube in this, I watch like business stuff, but
exactly.
Apart from that, it's not really, but it's like, wow.
Yeah. So those are those early day compromises, and like I said, we're still in the early stages. But now I'm finding that I have to be able to know where the boundaries are now, especially that I'm married and doing other things, like making sure. And honestly, this week's probably an example of a week where I'm not doing it very well. I've just been transparent, but because of the way they structured my week, I haven't been able to invest enough time into doing things. And and it's up to me. I chose to do those things, and you know what I mean? And I can't hold anyone responsible except myself.
Because I guess, when you're employed for someone, it's like they have the system in place. They're like, okay, they're going to work. That's like, this is how much hours I need worked on this. It's like whatever. They know what's coming in and everything like that. It's like, oh, well, when you check in, you do your work, check out, you're gone.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no responsibility less on that.
And if I want to wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning every day, I can.
Yeah, but you're going to pay the price for it.
But I'll pay the price for it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man. Is that, like, sorry, like, what was the original question?
Well,
I'm trying to, like, tie
I guess
back.
how it's impacted our personal life. How is your personal life fit into the business, or the business fit around?
There was something I wanted
life?
to really expand on there, because I've heard it time and time again in the resources I listen to, where even if you visit, like, say, a life coach or something, like I've heard them say, like a business coach or life coach, whatever, they'll always ask you, what do you want to do with your life? What are your life goals? What are your life visions before a business vision? Yeah. Because the business should never be the center point, is what I'm understanding and what I'm learning, what I've absorbed, is that a business needs to be built around your life. So actually, that your life goals and priorities are what the business should be built around.
I see, yeah.
So in terms of now, like maturing this thing and understanding that there are limits time-wise that I actually need to set. Like I can't be 100 hours into the business and sacrifice my personal life completely.
Yeah,
It doesn't pay off because it's not my life trajectory. So there's a compromise there as well of like wanting to keep working and wanting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But making those sacrifices as well on the, you know, for the business, like it means some nights I can't work or I shouldn't work, like, you know, 13 hours a day and late into the night because, I need to spend time with my wife, or I need to actually, a church thing I signed up to or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess it's also like I guess it's the decision of love as well. Like, it's like, okay, this is all the love that I have that I can give, right? It's like, I care about this thing. I love this thing. Therefore, I sacrifice for it. Sacrifice time, money, or whatever. It's like, these are all these things in your life that you love. So you have to like distribute your love and distribute your time, distribute what you can sacrifice. Like, these are your resources. And because you love those things, you will sacrifice for them.
100%.
But yeah, it's like when you don't sacrifice for something you love, it's like, whoa, warning signs. It's like, you love this thing. You better sacrifice for it.
I mean, the thought just came to me now because I've like, for example, I've watched a lot of Casey Neistat, if you know who he is.
Yeah,
Casey.
I haven't followed him for a long time.
Yeah, I know. I kind of fell off the Casey train a little bit ago, but I watched a video where he like literally put blocks to represent his time in his day.
I saw that one, yeah.
And he like ran off 4 hours sleep or something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that indicates to him like why he is successful is because he has prioritized in a proper way. He's prioritized being able to give all those hours to what he needs to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And for him that works. I guess for most people, we probably need a bit more than 4 hours sleep.
Yeah,
but
I think almost every person.
Basically, yeah, to be a normal human and not live off coffee. But I think if anyone was just to audit their week, if you literally like wrote all the hours that you put different activities in your week and you actually saw them like laid out in front of you, it automatically kind of says where your priorities are. Yeah. And if something outweighs something that you want to grow, like if my business is supposed to be a priority, but you know, entertainment is taking more time than business, then no, it's not. No. Deep down, it's not. Yeah. Because you would have made, or I would have made the effort, or something's happening that's causing you to burn out or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like every individual's responsibility to figure that out for themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's really cool. I guess, coming out of the depths of the conversation, what does the actual words brown fox? Why brown fox?
So why brown fox? Well, as you can see,
in the name?
I'm brown.
And I'm white. I'm white fox. Hello.
Nice to exactly. We're just gonna be a multicolored fox family now. Honestly, I don't need to like explain some of the nerdy details as to why fox is in the name.
Nah, do it, bro.
I mean, it was like a bit of a gamer tag thing. Like I used Fox because I like to play like...
You were what, Fox, sorry?
I used Fox as my gamer tag for a while for different games because I used to play Smash Brothers Brawl and I would just main Fox.
Yeah.
And he was like my favorite character back then. And so I just used it in all the games I played. And
Tails.
Hey?
Tails.
Tails.
Is that his name?
No, Fox. His name's Fox. Fox McCloud. Star Fox.
Oh, I see. Yep. Okay.
So anyway.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so it's got a little nerdy origin, but the way I decided to tie it back in to make it sound more professional is because when I was a graphic designer, which is still now, I still do graphic design, when you install fonts on your computer, especially on Windows, there's a default example phrase, a sentence, and that sentence includes all the letters of the alphabet, and it's the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. I'm like, well, that sounds cool because I don't want to be a lazy dog, so I'd rather be a brown fox.
Ooh, that's kind of interesting.
And I guess in the way that, honestly, like my own personality and the way that I kind of live my life in a way, I think that kind of is accurate to a degree for me. Like I hold that dear. So it's got a personal connotation more than like, video experts or something. Well, it's not a trendy name in terms of
we're gonna help you jump over the lazy dogs.
But it's got more of a personal thing. And I think honestly, in terms of like, we'll expand on this another time in terms of business vision and stuff. I always want to be like not a lazy dog.
No.
I want to be leaping ahead of people in terms of like our innovation and our creativity, our effort that we put into things. I made that up on the spot right then, but now it's on the podcast, so we can
that's gonna be plastered on the t-shirts. Boom, boom, boom.
And I like the picture of moving, and I like the idea of just doing stuff.
Yeah.
Like if that's all I get if anyone gets from a moving fox that's jumping, then cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's cool.
Cool.
Do you think we're going to find more meaning to the name as we go on?
If we decide to unpack, like I haven't looked into the color science of what brown represents. I'm a bit scared to do that now, whether it's something real bad.
It's like earth.
Earthy. But no, I haven't really thought that far ahead.
No, let's go. Hey. That's cool.
To me, it was better. What I had to do in a bit of like time. I keep using the word desperation, but I needed to do something quickly because I couldn't just keep using. I didn't want to keep using my name like Joseph Bobadilla or Bobadilla if you want to pronounce it properly.
Bobadilla.
So I wanted something because I was getting people on board that weren't me, which
sure you haven't got any clones around, Yo, Joe.
None that I know of, but. Honestly, that's another thing. It's like the learning process now of having people on board, like having yourself on board. Because I'm someone who, if I could, I'm one of those people. If I could, I would do everything.
Oh yeah,
that doesn't work.
No,
not in business.
You are human.
And so it's a learning process as well there of being able to expand. The reason I changed it from Joseph Bobadilla Creative is because I don't want it to be just me.
For sure.
This vision of helping people goes further than one person. So, yeah,
absolutely.
I'm sure we can unpack the brown fox name a bit better later.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, sure. It's definitely something. I guess. I guess pivoting. Like, what is then this podcast that that we're doing? It's like
great question.
I guess I've always been one to believe conversation. I guess articulate speech, truthful, honest speech is the core, like the absolute core of a relationship. Like if you can do that, if you can have that connection, especially when first meeting someone, just like
100%.
Yeah, like having that as like a whether it's in connections, like in meeting people in a corporate environment or whatever, to be able to have a conversation that is truthful and honest and valuable to people.
Yeah.
It's like that's something that is, I guess, kind of somewhat missing. I guess, and even I don't know. I guess I'm speaking for like at my age, like demographic, like younger guys. It's like there's obviously like friends that I like have like close conversations with, and like I would talk for hours with. It's
of course.
It's like
just good.
Just like strong guys at like back in school and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But. Yeah, it's like what is this podcast? Like, I guess what are we like
what are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing?
I think I said it right at the start as well of the fact that I'm getting a phone call. I need to put this on Do Not Disturb while we have a podcast. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I think the fact that there's a dime a dozen podcasts coming out of the earth now. I don't want to just like everyone says, I don't want to be just another podcast. Like I believe everyone should make a podcast. If they have something valuable to say, put it out there.
Yeah, why not?
And I guess at its core, I feel like we have something valuable to say, to share. For sure. We do video production and photography. And honestly, I see that this potentially could become more than just that. I could end up going back into a full service agency kind of thing where there's graphic design, there's all this, there's a lot of topics to cover, marketing, social media. But I don't even just want it necessarily to be about creativity all the time. like even some of the concepts and some of the things you covered before, asking me about my journey, being able to share people's stories and experiences and stuff like that, I think is super valuable. And I think there's many potential platforms people can do it. But like I said, we are in video production. I feel like we have a potential strength to be able to deliver something of good quality. Like people, like it's not all about quality, but people respect in general when something is well produced.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we're able to offer that and plus actually have riveting conversation and use a podcast like this to not just talk about ourselves, but also be able to bring people on board, have a chat about what drives them, what gets them passionate about what they do and what their story is, what their industry is. There's a lot of commonalities that we can learn from everyone.
Yeah.
And to be able to pack all that into podcasts where honestly, there's like people listen to people they trust. So everyone's got their own circle of influence. I think a lot of the people who have the bigger podcasts, obviously their influence sphere is bigger, but that doesn't mean that just because you have a small influence sphere, you don't have an influence. You do. Like, if you have, friends and family and you have friends on Facebook and stuff and you share something that's valuable and they connect with it, like that in itself is growing your own, in a way, your own network, your own you're a nucleus of influence. And to be able to add people on board and people who may not have the reach that may not be in contact with some of the bigger podcasts, say, but they have something valuable to share.
Yeah, for sure.
Someone, whether it's a pastor or like a business person or an athlete that isn't as big necessarily as someone else.
Yeah.
But you know them, we know them, we met them, we found out about them, and just get them and share something valuable through really well structured questions, through good conversation, friendly chats, bringing out those things. There's so much value. And we're making this up as we go along. We're figuring out as we go. I think it's just amazing to start something.
For sure. Yeah.
Then where this thing goes, who knows? But I want to be able to bring people on, and I personally am all about finding purpose in your life. And that goes deeper a level because, I believe that God's created us for a purpose, and we all individually have something that we're meant to do.
For sure.
And things that we're meant to do. And if a conversation comes up where someone can hear someone from someone else that they identify with, and they go, I could try that. If that's all that happens from an episode and someone gets helped by that, then that's a win.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah, successful.
I love that. The idea of that. Just like,
absolutely.
Like it perks me up without the coffee,
Yeah, absolutely. No, for sure. Like, having, I guess, a space where 2 or more people are able to just come together and just express ideas, express, stories. It's like, absolutely. That's an ultimately encouraging thing as well. It's like to be able to listen to someone and relate and be like, oh yeah, they're on that journey. It's like, hey, that's similar to mine in this way. It's like, oh, that's a bit different. It's like, and I think it's pretty encouraging that I would be able to have conversations with you when I come in and things like that. And you're like, I guess, just a bit further in me.
That's it.
In my journey. It's like, I can jump on this, and then we can all have this space where we can come and people can bring different things. Maybe they're ahead in certain things, but like just a little bit behind. I'm saying ahead and behind, but that's not a negative thing. It's just a journey. That's something that I hold very dearly too, and I believe 100%. It's the reason why I still create like content on YouTube and stuff, even though I have barely any subscribers, because it's not about that. To me, like you summed it up perfectly. Everyone is looking for someone who's a little bit further along. Because, for example, if I was, let's say, a basketball player, which I play fairly averagely, casually, and I was looking at a Michael Jordan or a LeBron James, do you know those names? Keep dreaming, mate. Yeah, for sure.
Like those are inspirational, but how do I get there? Like, how do I relate? Yeah. Like, I can't relate to that person.
For sure.
But if there was someone who's like in a league of like a little step higher, like a Division 1 player in a competition, I was watching them and I got to know them, and they could show me a couple tips how to be better. Yeah. What techniques to do better. I would pull to that guy more than I would to them. Yeah, I would use them as inspiration. Shoot for the stars. But I would draw and learn and take in what someone just a little bit in front of me had to say.
For sure.
Because they're like able to give you the rope to
and
pull you back
it's that sphere of interest that you said as well.
Yeah.
It's like that's the sphere, and you're able to expand and grow and shift and move around.
And we could have a conversation here and record it once, or anyone could record it once and put it out indefinitely because of the power of video. So video and audio, whatever mediums we'll try to put them on everything.
Yeah.
That's what I reckon.
For sure.
If like I like to dream really big about this kind of stuff, but if we recorded a conversation here, we said one thing and some guy in Guatemala understood English and was like, you know what, I want to try do this, and we never heard about it, but they did something amazing with their life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like just the thought of being able to do that is amazing.
Yeah. The thought of having a space where you can encourage.
Yes.
Having a position where you can encourage, like, I guess, position ourselves in a way where it's like, hey, it's like we want to put this out.
Yeah.
And whatever people take away from it, whatever, people come and, I guess, extract out of it and find value from. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. It's so awesome. I think having that, I guess, this designated time as well, and this designated, well, it's not necessarily just a space, but I guess like an atmosphere.
Yes.
Like where it's like, okay, like this is our attention. We're like focused on talking. We're focused on ideas. It's like having that, like that's literally dedicated to that. I think it like breathes potential. Like there's like stuff is going to come out of that if you give that time and you give that space.
That's it. Like we all have the platform, and if my theory is if we have the skills and we have the ability to do something and use it like this, like why not? Like why not?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Like who cares if no one sees this first episode?
Like, no, like absolutely. And it might be up here for years and years and years. Like,
that's the plan.
Be old man, just like
back in the day when we recorded that podcast.
Welcome to Brown Fox Podcast. Yeah, still doing it like in our 70s.
That'd be cool. I'm sure technology would be better by then.
Yeah, they could just like I don't know. But no, I think this is really cool and a really awesome thing to have. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to this. And that's like, I've tried to do like little podcasts on the side, just with mates, just recording conversations, but
do it. Just keep doing it.
Oh yeah, no, but like having something that's, I guess, in a context where it's like, there's a specific vision or a specific go. Cause it was kind of like, I'll just record a conversation.
Yeah.
But having something that's like, this is why it's here is really, really cool. And
nice.
I'm super excited.
Awesome.
Was there anything else that you would like to add? Anything that you'd like to discuss or conversation points or?
No, honestly, I think that for the most part, all the conversation points we've had, all the discussion, it's helped me to even get a bit more clarity. Even there's one podcast as to like how we can go further and like I wrote one note down here. I said, or two notes. I said one thing I want to do is be able to showcase people like I said, who have their own spheres of influence that may not already have the reach. Yeah. To me, it's not as I don't care if I never get someone like a Gary Vaynerchuk to get interviewed on my podcast. Yeah. Like I know there's people out there who start podcasts and then they go, you know what, I'm going to reach out to Gary and I'm going to blow this thing up. My theory on that too is if someone is doing something like, here's my problem with things like...
This is my problem.
All right, guys.
Rant.
This is my problem with things like The Voice or X Factor or talent shows when people don't have enough to back them up. Like... And I've discussed this with my musician cousin, who I'm sure we'll get on the podcast soon. Yeah, Jordan. Is Joseph. That if you get a platform, like say you're a musician, and then you go on The Voice and you do really, really well, like because you're a solid vocalist, you have a great, you have a great like whatever it takes to get on those shows. Charisma. But you didn't do enough hard yards before that. My theory is that that's why they fail when they get into the spotlight, because they don't know, they didn't have the foundation. If that makes sense. Yeah,
like you need something. Yeah, you need like what are you standing on?
Like what was what did you do with the music before you went on the show? If you went on the show to just get into the spotlight but you had nothing to back you up.
People set you up. Oh, what is he doing? Oh,
all it is nothing. Magnifying what you already did. So if we tried to get someone like a Gary Vaynerchuk on a podcast and we've done one episode and have no idea what we're talking about, we've been in business for 1 year. it's gonna suck.
Yeah,
and
it's
crash and burn and
cool.
put you into spotlight to show that you had nothing behind it.
Yeah,
You had
the
nothing behind it.
spotlight is too harsh and burns you.
Ooh, yeah. So I want to keep doing and encourage people to create content and just do it. Like, I'm not saying that I'm successful or anything like that yet at all. I'm still like on that journey of whatever success means to you and to me. But like, for example, before I started putting out videos on my new channel of YouTube, I did 70 videos before that on another channel that maybe not that many people saw anyway. But it was just like, there's plenty of repetition. If people ask me how I got into videography before I decided to make a dime off it or tried to, I had enough repetition to go, I'm actually decent enough at the craft.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, if we're going to go back to that tangent of starting a business or getting why you started something, there's good intention and then there's actual preparation as well. Like I've heard it said, one of the quotes I've heard this year is, success is the intersection of preparation and opportunity. So if you hit that opportunity but you weren't prepared enough, it won't go anywhere.
For sure.
If you prepared enough and you never get the opportunity, it won't go anywhere.
No, yep.
So part of that formula is being well versed in your craft, whatever that thing is. If you're making t-shirts, if you're designing things, if you're making buildings, if you're doing videography or photography, and then the opportunity. And I think the other thing that I want to tackle on another podcast, because this is something I'm still learning, is that opportunity can be created.
Yeah.
Which I want to explore real deeply.
Position. This is what it is.
You can position yourself.
Yeah.
And things like even doing a podcast like this, I have no idea what the reach is. I don't want to project, but I believe just putting something out is better than zero. One is always better than zero.
It's absolutely a better position to be in.
So podcast one is better than podcast zero.
Come back
again whenever we do this next.
Fortnight.
We'll make it a fortnight from now until we can make it weekly. So
absolutely. To come.
I'm excited.
Very good.
Thanks for helping me out with this.
Hey, no, this has been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I think it's been very fruitful. Like you said, it's good to just speak out, and I guess what is stirring inside out and into, I guess, conscious thought.
Yep.
It's really, really cool.
Verbalize it.
Yeah, for sure.
Put it out there.
So valuable.
And I'll make sure that we get you in the driver's seat next. The passenger. What is this?
I'm taking you on
the
a
driver's
ride.
seat?
Yeah, I guess I'm driving
cool.
where this is going.
I want to make sure that you get an opportunity very soon to voice your story.
Who
too.
knows?
I'm excited for that.
The story of Nathan.
I'm keen. Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in not too long time in the I guess next installment of the Brown Fox podcast. It's been awesome to have you. Feel free to leave a comment, or if you can.
We'll try to put this on as many platforms as we can get. We'll
absolutely.
learn how to do it, and then we'll
and if there's something that you would really love for us to unpack, or something that you'd like to I guess hear an opinion on or hear discussed, we're more than happy to tackle some things. Awesome. All right, we'll see you next time. Thank you for coming with us.
Fox is out.
Fox is out. So good.